He is given, like, Antonio Banderas Mask of Zorro vibes. Hello and welcome back to Why Won't You Watch Corrie, the podcast where I, Emily, try to convince my sister Vic to watch Coronation Street. Despite the fact that I only started watching it in January and, quite frankly, still don't know what's happening half the time.
You know, they do say fake it till you make it.
Exactly! But what I lack in Corrie knowledge...
Which sounds like quite a lot.
I make up for in passion, enthusiasm, and an increasingly unhealthy attachment to the people of Weatherfield.
This I can confirm. And I would like to confirm that despite your persistence, I am still resisting the Cobbles.
And yet, the Corrie Conversion Project rolls on.
Relentlessly.
Now, this week, there is chaos absolutely everywhere.
It's pretty standard, right?
We got Legacy Lauren remains on the road.
Our travelling Cobbles Corrie-sponent.
Honestly, at this point, she's basically reporting live from the field.
Do we need to get her a teeny tiny Corrie microphone?
I think we might. Meanwhile, on the actual street, we've got new characters arriving.
Oh, which in Corrie means more trouble.
You know it. Plus, the Theo case continues to get increasingly suspicious.
I am starting to feel like the Weatherfield Police Department might actually benefit from, I don't know, CCTV?
And returning this week, we have Behind the Cobbles.
A segment I do enjoy, and your latest attempt to lure me into Corrie using trivia and pop culture.
So, the big question this week is, will any of this finally push you further up the Corrie conversion scale?
Yeah, I think people, mainly you, might just need to lower your expectations.
Never! So whether you're fully converted, Corrie curious, or deeply invested in the Theo investigation...
That's why I'm here.
Are you ready?
No.
Let's get into it. This week on Corrie! Okay, let's start with what's happened on Corrie this week. Now, as I said to you, we have had new characters this week. 2 new characters to the street and many new characters to us.
Okay.
So some are already Corrie residents, just ones that I've not met.
Where have they all been hiding?
I've seen them in the background. They might have popped in for the odd word here and there, but I've certainly not introduced them to you. So
Okay.
you are in for a treat. But before we get into the new, let's return to the old and let's go for storyline 1 of the week, Murder on the Orient Express.
I don't recall there being a train.
Okay, let's talk Theo. So obviously last week we finished the week with the finger pointed firmly at Summer and the gang was falling apart.
Oh, no.
Yes. This week we pick up and Todd is still fuming at George for telling the truth and just angry, bitter, twisted. He's not twisted, he's just angry. And George is like sorry and feels guilty about it all. And the whole gang are mad at George and it's really sad because George, like, it feels like they've gone from everybody hating on Lisa a couple of weeks ago for doing her job to everyone hating on George for telling the truth in a murder investigation.
Kind of what you want him to do.
So, exactly. So, yeah, this week we pick up with Todd still fuming at George for telling the truth. We mainly see this week Sarah Platt and Todd just being drunk together, which I enjoyed, but, you know, and yeah, people being mean to George. Yeah, it just feels like there's a lot of misplaced anger in this whole storyline. Mary Taylor tries with her best efforts and an umbrella to try and fix the situation. Alas, it does not pan out.
An umbrella?
Yes, Vic.
What?
Hey, if you want to know, you need to watch the show.
Okay, fine. I'll accept it. I'll accept that she's randomly walking around with an umbrella. It's fine.
She is using the umbrella as like a talking stick. You know when you were kids and you're like, you can't talk unless you've got the talking stick. And Mary Taylor does try numerous times through the first half of the week to get the gang talking, but Todd's just not having any of it.
That's fair.
Sarah Platt does, Sarah Platt does try to calm Todd down at one point because he's like super stressed out about Lisa. And for the first time ever, someone on the Cobbles goes, Sarah Platt goes, You just need to trust Lisa. I know I do. And I'm like, yes,
About time.
she's a police officer. So far, in what I've seen of her history, she's got the bad guy. Yes, she might have arrested some wrong people first, but she's got there in the end. You just got to trust in DS Conner-Swain, peeps.
Slow and steady. We'll catch that murder victim. Nope. Murderer.
Yep. But during that conversation, Todd tells Sarah Platt and Bethany Platt that he's not told Lisa the truth about him and Gary's pact. So that's now out there. We also see in the week Summer's friends go and see her at the police station. And so does Todd a couple of times. And obviously everyone's worried about her because she's stressed out. Obviously, she's in prison for a crime that, as far as we can tell, she didn't commit. And they have these conversations about seeing her in the street, in public, and pretty much in every single one, Tyrone is there in the background looking guilty. Because obviously from last week, we learned that Tyrone did see her and Tyrone can prove her alibi, but is covering up for something to do with himself, which we will talk about later. Later in the week, Todd goes to see Summer, and Summer tells him, I don't understand. Tyrone saw me. Why is Tyrone not telling the truth? So then Todd is drunk in the Rovers, which just seems to be his equilibrium at this moment. And Tyrone is in there, and he starts yelling at him and saying, in front of everyone in there, again, more on that later, but is like, why are you not telling the truth? So that's that. Also on the whodunit storyline, we see more of Theo's ex, Danielle. So it turns out this week that Danielle was expecting a payout from Theo dying from his life insurance. Yes. Alas, we also find out this week she did not get the payout. Todd got the payout.
I mean, they were married.
So we have a motive. They were, but also only Justin Theo does have 2 kids. So I can see why both parties would have been expecting it. But either way, that gives us motive for 2 people. On the day of Theo's funeral, the gang are in the bistro supporting Todd. And for the day, Todd has forgiven George. Danielle walks in and starts to yell at Todd for stealing her inheritance, for the kid's inheritance. Luckily, DS Conner-Swain, is sat on the next table, so she overhears this whole thing, and she's very comedically eavesdropping on it. Anyway, so they're doing the finger pointing. Ryan is there. Now, I'm sure I've mentioned Ryan. Ryan lives in the house with them. He's Carla's, like, nephew of sorts. Part of that family, that universe. So he spots Danielle. When she storms out after confronting Todd, he follows her into the street and he says to her, I saw you on the street that night. I didn't know that you were Theo's ex. I know that you were here the night that he got murdered. She turns around to him on the street and is basically like, oh, you tragic non-entity, which made me really sad for Ryan that was said to him. But I love the Corrie insults. They're one of my favourite things. So anyway, obviously he tells Lisa. So then on Friday we see Ryan become like little detective and is like, she was there for this. Have you questioned her for this? Have you thought of this? Have you thought of this? And Lisa's just like, obviously I've thought of all this stuff, but thank you for telling me to do my how to do my job. And it's quite funny, like the transition where he's all of us, because we all would have, if we lived with a copper who was doing a murder case with someone we knew, would be like, have you thought of this? Do you know this? Have you done this? Have you done this? And I was just watching him going, I would be Ryan in this situation.
Yes, we would.
But she continues to not tell them anything until later in the episode where they're in the bistro and she lets slip a little bit of information on the murder case. She does call Danielle in for questioning. Danielle obviously then points the fingers at Todders, so that's where we are with Danielle. Other potential clues we have this week. Sarah Platt and Gary have a secret chat on the phone. There's something going on with those 2 at the moment. As she says to him, you're not on your own, Gary. And then the sister, Shona's sister, overhears and is like, oh, are you 2 having an affair? So I don't know if that's related to the Theo case. I don't know if it's something else entirely. Watch this space. But so far, the movement on the Theo case, Summer is still in prison. Tyrone is looking guilty. Will he break and tell the truth? The finger is now being pointed at Danielle and Todders. I think that's what we will see next week. But there is also something going on with Sarah Platt and Gary. Now, Sarah Platt is not one of the released suspects. So if but I wonder if she witnessed something.
Maybe.
But she's not one of the suspects that Coronation Street said.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's where we're at. Any thoughts, feelings, feedback you would like to share with me or Coronation Street, who definitely don't listen?
I mean, I would like Summer to get out of jail. I would like Tyrone or whatever his name is to sort his shit out and tell the truth. I don't know why people keep insisting on lying to the police. Just tell them the truth.
I mean, can you imagine if, like, in real life murders happened and everyone was just like, I did it, like, and just told the truth?
I mean, it'd be so much easier though, wouldn't it?
I mean, it would, but also so much less entertaining, Vic. Now, I am not going to hold you in suspense, Vic. I'm going to move you very quickly onto Tyrone.
Okay.
So I'm going to introduce you to a whole new family, new characters to us. We have touched on them in the last couple of weeks because they've been popping in. But let me introduce you to Tyrone, Fizz, Ruby, Hope, and Doran.
Okay.
Tyrone and Fizz are the adults in this situation.
Right.
They are a couple.
Okay.
Hope, Ruby, Doran are the kids. Hope is the eldest. She's a teenage girl. Ruby, I would say, is a younger teenage girl.
Okay.
I would say I'm going to go with, in the ballpark, of 14-ish for Hope, 12, 13-ish for Ruby, and Doran is definitely a child.
Okay.
A small boy, I'm going to say 4.
Okay.
3 or 4 would be my guess.
Yep.
But I don't know.
Okay.
And
They're
I
kids?
assume
Okay.
so. But I don't know.
Cool.
So
Could be anything in Corrie, so.
Could be anything. They could maybe they're foster kids, maybe they're their kids, maybe they're adopted.
Maybe they've just been dropped on their doorstep. Who knows?
That has happened.
I know.
So let's talk Tyrone. So as we know, Tyrone has been looking guilty and suspicious all week. We know, I said last week that I thought he might have dropped the car on Carl. This week we find out he did in fact drop the car on Carl. And
why?
He rang Ron. Something happened last year.
Okay.
There is a backstory that I don't know.
Wonderful.
But he didn't like Carl. So,
Drop the car on him. Like you do.
it makes sense. Ronnie, who's Debbie's husband, helped cover it up.
Okay.
So that's why he took Carl to the hospital, because he helped with that situation. That is why Tyrone is not telling the truth, because it would get him and Ronnie into trouble.
I see.
So and Ronnie is putting the pressure on him because Tyrone keeps looking like he's going to break. Fizz knows there's something wrong with Tyrone because she keeps asking.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I'm fine. But obviously he's not fine.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one. I'm not sure what's going to happen on that. I watch this space. At the end of the week, Friday's episode, obviously Todd is aware at this point that Tyrone is not telling the truth about Summer. So Todd is yelling at him in the pub about this situation, and who should walk in but Big Bad Baldy himself. He is out of hospital.
Oh, no.
He's recovered. He's in the Rovers, and he very quickly puts 2 and 2 together. Why would Tyrone and Ronnie be having this conversation in the Rovers? Why is Tyrone lying? So he follows them outside. They go and have a private chat in a very secret alleyway, the same secret alleyway that I think the teacher and Will have had conversations in.
Yeah. So secret.
And he follows them into the it's so secret. He follows them into the secret alleyway, hides around the corner, listens in where they fess up to the whole thing. So he knows that it was Tyrone that dropped the car on him.
Okay.
Will he go to the police? I doubt
Probably
it.
not.
Will he use it to hold it over Tyrone? Absolutely he will.
Yeah.
So that's where we are with Tyrone.
Okay.
And Big Bad
Big Bad Baldy. He's back.
He is back.
Blunt.
Continuing with this storyline, we also have a side storyline with Hope. Hope has a crush on Will, as in Will and teacher Will. So
He's not ready.
Yes. So
don't pursue that.
Exactly. But that is going to lead us into our next storyline,
Okay.
which is Will and the teacher.
Wonderful.
Will. Oh, Will.
Oh, Will.
As we know, Megs has been let out. She was being arrested, but she's out on bail. So the week starts with Will. A video comes across his socials where there is some vigilante justice, where some couple of kids see Megan and throw a milkshake all over her, which he finds quite distressing to see. he then goes to Roy's roles to revise, because obviously he's also doing his GCSEs at this point, right? Which he's behind on.
Yeah.
So he goes to Roy's roles to revise, and Sam is there, Harry Potter is there, and he's like, "You're right, mate." And Harry Potter's like, "You ruined my life. You're an awful human."
Not wrong.
So Will goes storming out. Side note, Harry Potter then sits down on his chair and talks to fake Roy. Now in this instance, fake Roy is not actually in the scene, but it's just an empty chair.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's the only bit we see on that storyline, but it is still bubbling. Will storms out, goes back to the pub where he overhears the landlord and Eva talking about him and how he's always going to be damaged because of what's happened, and he's worried for his little boy and he'll never be able to see women the same, and blah, 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 blah. He goes in, storms, like, has a go at them, stops saying I'm not normal, storms out. Next time we see Will, he is drunk on vodka, stood on top of the scaffolding, swaying around. Woe is me. I mean, my life is shit. Everyone hates me. Blah, blah. Understandably so. Yeah. Like, I get it. He is found by another new to us character of the week.
Ooh.
So her name is Asher, I think.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure. Originally, I just had her written down as shop girl. So she is one of Summer's friends. Mm-hmm. She works in the corner shop. I'm sure they've called her Asher, but for now we're calling her Asher. If it changes, I will let you know.
Okay, cool.
Asher comes out the shop and talks him down, basically, and is like, "It's, you know, I've gone through a similar thing. You'll get through this. You'll be all right." Like, she's obviously got some backstory that we don't know about. Yep. We being you and I. Yep. I'm sure the Corrie fans do. And then she calls someone, and the person she calls is mother-in-law.
Okay.
So then we see Hope running to the Rovers to tell Eva and the landlord that what is going on. They run out, and by the time they get there, mother-in-law is up the scaffolding, talking him down. And she does. She successfully talks him down. They get to the bottom of the scaffolding, and they all go back to the pub for a drink. And this then leads to the result of the landlord inviting her to live back with him. Yeah. Back at the pub. So that's kind of it. He's like, "I'm still mad at you, but we need to be together as a family at this time." So I'm glad there's some movement on there. Yeah. I still really enjoy the mother-in-law. I do think that whatever she's done, it's for everyone's. She, in her opinion, she's doing it for everyone's best interests. I mean, yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
But then everybody is back at the pub. Will goes out to empty the bins in the back alley, the secret back alley. And as he's going back in, Megan appears. Oh. And Megan approaches him and tries to talk to him, and he's like, "Leave me alone, you've ruined my life." She slips something in his pocket. The next episode, we see what it is, and she has slipped in her new number and a set of keys. Don't know what the keys are for. But the last time we see him in the week, in terms of this storyline, we see him texting or putting the number in his phone or texting the number. So, yeah, that's happening.
Will.
I know. Will. Side storyline, he's obviously got Hope chasing him, who has a crush on him, and is like, "Let's study together." So then there's a time where they study together. They have a little giggle and a laugh. So I don't know if this is an evolving relationship or if it's a friendship that might help see him through and out the other side. Hope, Fizz, who's Hope's mum, I assumed mum, is concerned about it and speaks to Eva and is like, "Look, she's still a child. She's not very experienced. Obviously, Will is experienced because of the teacher, which obviously," and she's like, "We wouldn't be happy if anything romantic was to happen." Obviously, that gets Eva's back up. So I think
that's a fair boundary.
Well, especially so Hope is the year below Will.
Okay. Yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair boundary.
I also think that generally Will shouldn't be looking for a relationship right now, and I think that's more the thing that they should be focusing on. And we are moving on to our next storyline of the week, Sister and Daniel. So I'm going to make this quick because it's very same throughout. But Daniel is not happy about being trolled, obviously. He gets very angry. There's lots of scenes of him being very angry and then quite sad and emotional about it. You can see the sister is starting to feel guilty, I think, of what happened. But then it turns out through the week that the troll has stopped posting, so the sister has stopped posting. At one point in the week, Daniel decides to take his son out for a day trip because obviously he's been a bit of a stress egg the last few weeks. And when the son and Ken Barlow, they were all going to go together, are in the house, the vigilante justice people come back and spray him with ketchup, which
Oh.
obviously severely upsets
Yeah.
him. Yeah, so they don't go on their day trip, but instead he goes for dinner with his Adam Barlow, who I think is Ken's grandson, and Daniel is Ken's son, so his nephew, but
Okay.
they're the same age. So he goes for dinner with, or they seem to be a similar age.
Okay.
So he goes for dinner with him and a few others, and someone that they're sat to dinner with is watching the video of him getting sprayed with ketchup and laughing at it, and Daniel just loses his shit and throws all the food on the floor. I mean, to be honest, I think it was an extreme reaction, but also what a prick.
Yeah.
Like, why are you just sat there laughing at this video that this guy clearly is upset by?
Yeah.
Like,
Know your timings. Do that at home.
know
when
your
no one can see you.
timings. Exactly.
Not a good friend.
Not a good friend. Well, he's not a friend, but we'll get into him later. Towards the end of the week, we find out that the Truth Teller account has been deleted and gone. But Daniel does have a new troll, which I do not think is the sister, because she seemed surprised by it.
Okay.
So I think it might be Hope, to be honest. Other thing that should be mentioned is sister loses her job at Roy's. Now, what I didn't realise is she was covering Shona's shift at Roy's Rolls. Shona comes back to work, so the sister basically doesn't get any more shifts.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like there may be some issues with employment law there, but apparently that's fine. And then the other thing that happened this week was, obviously, as we learnt last week, this would have been filmed 6 to 8 weeks ago when it was a lot colder, but particularly, obviously everyone's wearing jackets because it's cold.
Yep.
And this is like the hottest week on the planet. I'm melting.
Yep.
And it was really tough watching the sister walking around in Ugg
Yeah.
boots. So I'm not going to lie. Like, there were times where I was like, I'm going to have to turn this off because I am so hot watching you. Why are you wearing Ugg boots?
Yep. Ridiculously hot.
Let's move on to our final storyline of the week, Vic. We have got new characters galore in this one. This one I'm calling Speed Dial because the story revolves around 2 managers of the restaurant Speed Dial. Okay, we have a new character to the show, number 1, Idris. Idris is the cousin of the female lawyer that we have spoken about, who will henceforth be called Alia, because that is her name.
Okay, cool. Wonderful.
New character 2 to the street. Man Without Shoes. Currently, Man Without Shoes doesn't have a name, or a name that I came across,
Okay.
and he's only really had 2 tiny bits, so I don't know if he's a side part or if he's going to become a main character or a character at this moment in time.
Okay.
So he's getting a mention. Man Without Shoes. Watch this
Okay.
space for a name. Next new character to us is Brody. Brody lives on the street already, but we've not experienced him on this podcast yet. Brody, I believe, you remember the prison ladies?
Yep.
And there was the younger one in there?
Yep.
I believe Brody is her son,
Okay.
and I believe that he currently lives with Sally, the legend, and Tim.
Right. Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
But I don't know anything else about him
Cool.
at this point. So anyway, the week starts with Leanne, one of the managers, on the hunt for a new member of staff. Enter Betsy and Dylan doing a trial shift. Betsy gets the job. Betsy turns down the job, so Dylan gets the job.
Okay.
Then we see Idris enter the street. He enters in a Mercedes. The car pulls up. It stops. He kicks the man with no shoes out of the car and says that tells him to get him his money, and then drives off. Next,
Okay.
we're back in Speed Dial, and there's a busy night. Tim and Sally are in there having dinner. Alia is there with Adam Barlow because the 2 lawyers are dating.
Okay.
And then there's a couple of guys who are just being arses and making a lot of noise and just they're drunk. They're pissing everyone off. So eventually it reaches a point where we're going to kick them out. They go to kick them out. They kick off. They throw curry all over Brody's shoe because Brody is there doing like a little, he's not doing a trial shift. He showed up to see if they had any work. And Leanne went, I can't employ you, but you can work tonight if you want.
Okay.
And then Idris walks in, and Idris walks over and approaches these 2 guys causing trouble and is like, you're going to pay and you're going to leave. And they do. Because he is given, like, Antonio Banderas Mask of Zorro vibes. Like, I think he's a little bit, I think he's a bit of a baddie, but he's also being a bit of a hero.
Yeah.
Kind of, that sort of vibe.
Yep.
That's the best way I can describe him, I think, at this point. Ali runs over, cousin, what are you doing here? So then he goes and joins them for dinner. Leanne sits down. They have a little chat. Brody tries to get a job with him because he's talking about how he works in housing.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't think he does by the fact he's chucked someone out of his car without shoes on. Then Brody sees him again in the street at one point, sees him go into the secret alleyway with a man with no shoes.
Yeah.
Brody follows him into the secret alleyway and sees him threatening him and being like, I've told you to get my money. And Brody's like, okay, I just wanted to see if you had any work.
Yeah.
So then Idris gives him a job clearing like an apartment.
Okay.
We're watching this space.
Okay.
Something's going to be happening with Brody and Idris, but I'm not sure what. I think Idris is going to draw him into some trouble,
Yeah.
but I don't know what the trouble is. On the other side of it, we've got Adam Barlow and Alia, and Alia is obviously really ecstatic that her cousin's there, and Adam Barlow doesn't trust him. He's like, he's a blagger, there is something about your cousin, something's not right. And she's like, no, he's fine. And he's like, okay. And then on the other side, we've got Leanne. Now, Idris has been doing a little bit of flirty flirt with Leanne.
Oh, no.
This flirty flirt leads them going for a drink in the pub, and within like 5 minutes, they're snogging each other's face
Of
off.
course.
I thought it was a bit fast.
Yeah.
But you know,
bit.
who am I? Like, each to their own.
Yeah, they'll be married next week. It'll be fine.
Then the next day, they're in Roy's Rolls having brunch. Alia walks in and is like, "What's going on with you two?" Like, hello, kind of thing. He leaves, and Alia gives Leanne a bit of a warning, like, just be aware, he's got a bit of a reputation for being a ladies' man. Like, Leanne's like, look, nothing's going on, like, it's just a little snog, it's fine. And she's like, okay, well, I'm just letting you know, he's got a reputation. The next bit we see of Idris is he is at the flower shop, which is where Tracy Barlow works, and he's having a little flirty flirt with Tracy Barlow. So I'm thinking, we've heard rumours of these love triangles in Corrie.
Yep.
We have yet to see one.
True.
So I am crossing all my fingers that this is the storyline, that we're going to get this little love triangle going on, because I feel like I've missed out.
I mean, it's time. It's time, right?
I'm going to move on very quickly. We're doing some quick fire rounds, Vic, of 2 more little storylines I want to talk about.
Yep.
And then just some thoughts I've had on the week, which I would like your input on.
Okay.
Storyline, this isn't a storyline actually, this should probably go with thoughts, but we're going to go Brian. So Brian is in the Rovers this week, so he had a few bit parts. There was one where him and Rita, because they obviously worked together in the cabin, were having a little argument about the whole concept of people coming in to pick up their packages from a corner shop and not opening the door to receive them. That was weird.
Yep.
Then we had Brian at one point in the Rovers, and Eva turned around to him and said, would you like some pork scratchings? And he starts shaking and like going like this, like shaking and going, I'm just clearing out my nervous system so I don't give in to the salty snack or something like that. And I was just like, what? Like, yeah, so that scene was odd, but it was nice to have Brian back in.
Good.
I've not seen him for a few weeks, so that was nice to have him back. Number 2, we're going to have a little chat about the Swains, because as you know, the Connor Swains, if they're in, we're chatting about them.
Yep.
Lisa Swain is back in action this week with the Who Done It. Obviously, we spoke about that before. My favourite bit was the end of the week where Ryan, Carla and her are just having these conversations about the Who Done It and trying to get information out of them. And honestly, Detective Ryan, I don't think I said it enough. I would like Detective Ryan to be an internet sleuth.
Oh my
I would
God.
love if they turned Ryan into an internet sleuth.
I mean,
That
they
would
need
literally-
one. We get this
They
case solved.
need one. Exactly. But yes, so we've got Ryan there.
Okay.
My thoughts, feel free to jump in, otherwise I'm just going to fly through them. Todd and Sarah spent a lot of time drinking together this week, and I feel like they should do that more often. To be honest, they were quite fun to watch.
Fair. Fine.
An insult that was used this week. You and your flaming Uranus-sized gob. The sentence makes no sense. Absolutely no sense to me. It frustrated me, so I'm throwing it to you. Why would you pick Uranus? I'm assuming it's the planet, because the way they said it.
Yeah.
But I would have said your flaming Jupiter-sized gob, because that's the largest planet, is it not?
I mean, sure. Okay. The whole thing confuses me.
You just look so defeated then. You're like, I can't even.
The whole thing, the whole sentence confused me. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
thoughts.
At one point this week, when we're at Sarah Platt's house, I totally forgot to tell you that Todd invited himself to move in with Sarah Platt when he was mad at George.
Okay.
There's a scene, very interesting, and I needed to tell you that because we're going to talk about it in the awards at some point.
Okay.
But they're in Sarah Platt's house at one point, and a random child walks out of one of the bedrooms. I assume Sarah Platt has had another child, and that is her child. But up until this point, I've not seen her with a small boy, so I don't know who this child is. Excellent. Or who they belong to.
I mean, anything goes, so...
Exactly. And my final thought is... about Leanne snogging Idris and just the speed of it. And maybe this is why I'm single, because I need to be working quicker, you know?
I mean...
Sit down with someone for 5 minutes, snog their face off. Like, that's the way I need to be doing this.
No?
I'm... You're saying I shouldn't take dating advice from Corrie?
I wouldn't, because you'll, again, be married in a week. And divorced in a month.
Okay, Victoria, we are moving on. We are moving on to the Coronation Street stats report. And you know what? I don't think we've been taking this report seriously enough. So I'm going to be whizzing through it in report form as if I am presenting these numbers to the board.
Okay.
You are the board.
I will be quiet and listen. I will make some notes.
No. Yes, please make notes. This week we have had 5 counts of villain energy, 4 counts of suspicious behaviour, 2 times where I yelled at the TV, "What are you doing?" 5 gasps, 1 don't be daft, 1 fancy a brew, 7 arguments and storm outs, 9 conversations that happened in public that should have happened at home, 6 meaningful stares. We have had 20 laughs this week.
Wow.
Not quite the record-breaking 43 of last week, but we still had 20.
Yep.
White Wine Telly was many, purely down to Sarah Platt and Todd getting drunk all the time.
Excellent.
The next one is every time someone promises something they shouldn't. Because I've been noticing this common theme in Corrie, where whenever someone is stressed out about something, the other person turns around and goes, "It's going to be fine, I promise." Or, "We'll get it sorted, I'll promise." Like, there's a lot of promising with no grounds. And we have had 2 counts of that this week. And an example is Todd promised to get Summer out of prison. But he's not no grounds for that.
No.
He's not a lawyer. He doesn't know the case. He doesn't have a bit of evidence to save her. So he's literally just made a promise that he cannot guarantee to keep.
Also, I mean, it sounds like he
So
spent
we
the
have
whole
2 of
week
those.
drunk, so he's not exactly trying hard.
He is not trying hard. He is not. He's just made a promise on no basis. How many times people say flamin'? And this week it was 3. And the reason that's in is because I have, much like Don't Be Daft, it just seems to be in a lot of I've never used it before in my life. But it's like, you know, I flamin' well will, or I flamin', like, people just seem to use flaming.
Okay.
I haven't written an example down. I'll get you an example for next week because I can guarantee it will be in there again. But flaming is our new tally of the week, and this week it was 3.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, we are moving on. We are moving on to our awards of the week. This is the part of the show where I like to give out random awards with no real context just because I can. And we are going to start, as we always do, with Villain of the Week. So Villain of the Week this week, we have a choice of 3. We have Tyrone and Ronnie. We have Todd, or we have Idris.
Okay.
So obviously Idris is new to the show. Todd, it's just his level of rage towards everyone. It's still giving me villain more than anything else.
Yeah.
And then Tyrone and Ronnie generally are the reason why Summer is still in prison when she doesn't need to be.
Unfair.
Thoughts, feelings?
I mean, I feel like we don't know enough about Idris yet to... Idris?
I agree. I agree.
To judge him. And, I mean, it's pretty bad of Tyrone and Ronnie to leave somebody in jail. Like, come on.
Yeah. So that's it, Vic. Tyrone and Ronnie get the joint Villain of the Week award this week.
Congratulations.
And we're moving on to Most Valued Player. We have got our MVP of the week. Again, we've got a choice of 3. We've got the shop girl, Asha. I forget what her name is. The one who initially saw Will up the scaffolding. Yep. We've got the mother-in-law who talked Will down from the scaffolding. Or we've got Mary Taylor who tried to fix the world's problems with an umbrella. And
Okay.
And although Mary Taylor did make me laugh, mother-in-law is getting the MVP of the week.
That's fair. That's where my brain went. As soon as she said MVP, I was like, it's got to be mother-in-law, right? Got to be.
It is, in fact, the mother-in-law. It is indeed. And Vic, we are moving on to the comedy moment of the week.
If it doesn't involve Mary Taylor and her umbrella.
Number 1, Mary Taylor and the talking umbrella.
The talking umbrella.
Number 2, Sally. Yeah. Number 2, Sally and Tim proving to be legends yet again this week. Number 3, at one point, one of Roy's trains was broken by Tyrone and Fizz's kids, and Roy says this line: Can everyone kindly refrain from telling me how to polish my train?" And I thought that line was deserved to be in the comedy moment of the week.
Yep.
Number 4 was Ryan and Carla playing detective at the end of the week. Just the way those two vibe off each other is very funny.
Excellent.
And I think it would be remiss to not give the award to Mary Taylor and the talking umbrella.
Has to be.
So that is our comedy moment of the week. And we've got one more award this week, Vic.
Oh, okay.
And this one we've not had for a few weeks.
Oh, okay.
So we are going in for the award this week for the most unhinged moment.
Excellent.
Number 1 is Todd inviting himself to say it's Sarah Platts. Just because he's mad at George. Sally, exactly. Sally and Tim sitting, so when they went to dinner at Speed Dial, they sat next to each other rather than opposite each other, and I always find that bizarre when people go to, unless there's a view, I completely get it. Like, I've sat next to one when I'm out at the seaside and I want to look at the sea. But if I'm in a restaurant and there's no view, opposite them, surely.
You would think
What is seating etiquette?
I mean, I would go opposite, so you can have a good conversation, I guess.
And my final one for unhinged moment of the week is Brian releasing his salty craving in the Rovers.
You need to reword that. That's gross.
And the most unhinged moment of the week is Brian and his salty craving. Okay, Vic, we are moving on. We are moving on to Last Orders. Last Orders is the part of the show where we take a member from the Cobbles that week and we decide whether we would go to the pub with them. Yeah. So this week, Vic, is the landlord.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now, obviously, since we've been on the podcast, since we've been talking about the landlord, he has had numerous things go on. He's found out his son's been groomed. He's found out his dad's not his dad. He found out his mum killed his dad, who's not his dad. He's found out that he might have a congenital heart issue, and then he's found out that he doesn't.
Yep.
He's found out that he's got a new brother.
Yep.
We also know that he deals with this very much in a woe is me way. He got very angry once. Yeah. What I would say, which I've probably not said before, he does seem he's got a very nice, kind smile. Okay. I think he probably is quite a nice, kind guy. He's probably maybe I've been a bit hard on him by saying he's woe is me. But I think as a viewer, it's just been a bit boring seeing the woe is me all the time. But I enjoyed when he got angry the other week.
Okay.
Yeah. Fine. Tell me your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the landlord from what I've told you about him?
I mean, a bit of the same. He just seems a bit like he feels he's been hard done by in life. Although, he's had a lot done to him, but probably the biggest thing that's happened in his storyline has happened to his son and not him.
Yeah.
I'm glad he has finally kind of forgiven his mother. I don't think...
Yeah.
I mean, she probably shouldn't have kept it from him, but she had her reasons. So, you know.
Exactly.
Did it affect his growing up? Probably not. He was probably fine.
Yeah.
And now he's got another brother. What's wrong with him?
Exactly! Okay then, Vic, let's move on to the all-important ratings. So, small talk ability.
Again, he's a landlord.
It's gotta be high.
He's a landlord of a pub. He's got to be high.
Yeah.
5.
Let's give him a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if he's angry and he's going to kick everyone out, that's going to deplete. But let's assume that that's not where we're at.
Hopefully we're having a good night. Good, calm night.
Yeah, exactly. Drama risk.
It also is probably quite high.
I think that's also going to be a 5, especially lately. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Gossip value. I think this is low because he gets really sensitive when he hears people talking about his family.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, he is a lot. He's had so much gossip going on. I don't think he'd know much of the other gossip.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go a 2, to be honest.
Yeah, that's probably fair. You're right.
agree?
I think he probably doesn't know much of what's going on the street.
Yeah.
So
General vibe check.
I'm going to probably put it middle
It's
of the road.
difficult.
Because
Yeah, I agree.
it's just, you're right, it's
I think
tough.
the woe is me would annoy me, but he's also Irish, which means he knows how to drink, so probably would be quite good on a night out. So that's what kind of ups it for me. Yeah, I think let's go a 3.
Yeah.
I think.
I think it's really going to depend on what's happened in his day before he gets to the drink. I think that'll affect him a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's go on for a exit plan needed. I'm going to say no, actually. I don't think there'd be anything that would make me go, I have to leave. Like, I think if he got a bit woe is me, you'd probably be getting free drinks because he knows the Rovers.
Yeah.
So
Really, you're going to be
I could
staying?
probably cobble it for the free drinks. Yeah, so then I guess the question is second part probability.
Most likely.
Absolutely.
It's on the
Most
house.
likely. Are we staying till last? Yeah. Are we staying till last orders, Vic?
Probably.
Yes, we are. Is there going to be a lock-in?
Fingers crossed.
Okay, Vic. We are moving on. To Legacy Lauren, our Corrie correspondent. But the question is, Vic, where is she today?
That is the question.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Let me know.
Let's go.
Hello, Emily and Vic. Legacy Lauren checking in. And I say that deliberately because I am, in fact, in the Czech Republic. So this is very much a Corrie check-in. And I am joined by 2 of my friends, Dee and Nicola. And we have some very exciting news. Dee, tell us what the exciting news is.
All right, so Lauren talked to me about your Coronation Street, and it immediately brought me to this memory. And I said, like, hey, we have a very similar thing over here in Czech Republic. It's been happening for years and years and years, and it has a similar concept. People living in the similar neighborhood, and they have all of these neighborhood dramas and all of these like small human stories. And it's called ulice, which translates to the street.
The street.
That's
So you
cool.
heard it here first, people, or maybe you didn't if you already knew, but you heard it here first. There is a Czech version of the street. Well, there's a Czech version of Coronation Street called the street. And other exciting news, there is a Czech version of Legacy Lauren.
What?
Let me introduce you to Legacy Nicola.
Hi. So I shall tell you probably like, what was it, 20 years ago, right? Well, I remember that there was marriage, divorce, then some kids having issues at school. And I specifically remember there was a guy who had really beautiful wife, and I didn't like understand like why she is with him because he was like really awful. And that's probably all I know. Like it was happening on the street, in the shop, I think, and in the pub. Yeah, and that's it. It was full of drama, for sure.
Full of drama, a shop, a street, and a pub. I mean, guys, this is the same thing.
Sounds like Corrie.
This is ridiculous. I had no idea. All right, so this leads us to a problem though, because if there's already a Czech version of Coronation Street called The Street, how am I going to convince Czech people to watch Coronation Street? Guys, what do I need to tell Czech people about that makes them want to watch Corrie?
I mean, we love beer, so how much beer do you have over there?
We have beer.
Plenty.
We've got a pub called the Rovers Return, so we can bring the beer, but maybe increase the beer.
Yeah.
Drunk people. do you have?
Drunk people, yes. There's a character called Lisa Swain Lisa, what's her name now? She's married. Anyway, she likes a drink, so we could do that.
What about gossips?
Oh my God, we've got plenty of gossips. Yeah, we got that one covered.
I'm thinking a lot of food, definitely. And did we say Czech dumplings? That's like a special thing. So at least some dumplings.
Okay, cool. Well, there's a restaurant called the Bistro, and there's a cafe called Roy's Rolls. So I figure if we just get dumplings on their menus and then increase the beer, we're covered. All right. Well, I think that's it. But the biggest takeaway is that every country has a street where everybody knows your business.
Yep.
And that is Legacy Lauren, Legacy Nicola, and Dee checking out.
I mean,
Who knew?
We're all living the same life in different countries here, guys. Now, two things I'd like to add. After this week, with Todd and Sarah's drinking, they got no problem watching Coronation Street. Number two, Legacy Lauren, we are having words. Lisa Connor Swain, please. How dare you forget her name?
Well, I would...
And that is it. That is Who on the Cobbles? Cobbles correspondent with Legacy Lauren, signing out.
Will she ever be home again? Who knows?
Okay, Vic, we are moving on to Behind the Cobbles. So obviously so far we have had Sir Ian McKellen being in the show.
Great.
We have had the first episode being live because that's how TV was filmed back then.
Yep.
And this week, Vic, we have got the Weatherfield 1.
Okay.
So, you know me. You're my sister.
Yes.
You know that one of my favourite things in the world and about the UK is when the British public get behind something ridiculously silly and it just becomes a cultural phenomenon.
Yep.
Think about the numerous times that the British public have sent a novelty act to number one on the UK single charts as like a collective prank against an established artist.
Yeah.
Examples being Mr. Blobby versus Take That. Mr. Blobby won.
Of course he did.
Think about when the British public was, instead of the British public getting really mad at Liz Truss for fucking our economy, they just decided to live stream a lettuce to see who would outlive her premiership. Or more recently, and less of an extreme, but think about when on TikTok the British public decided to collectively prank the world by claiming that we had a tea time alarm, and every time that went off we had to go and drink a cup of tea.
That was a great one.
And it was a great one. And Vic, did you know there is one very example of this from Soapland, which has never been beaten in terms of cultural impact, and that is the tale of the Weatherfield 1.
Okay. I'm nervous.
Back in 1998, there was the storyline with Deirdre Barlow, where she got wrongly imprisoned for fraud. And in this storyline, the UK reacted the UK reacted the way the UK does best, with satirical mayhem.
Okay.
It all started off with when the phone lines at Granada Studio became jammed with complaints. People just ringing in, fuming that Deirdre had been sent to prison.
Okay.
Then we moved on to the front pages of all the newspapers in the UK at that time, declaring their support for Deirdre, which turned it into a national campaign. People had T-shirts, car stickers, mugs, all adorned with Deirdre's face, supporting her. Free the Weatherfield 1. What? Protesters stood outside Risley Prison calling for Deirdre's release. Someone donated £5,000 to a mock Free Deirdre group to try and get her out of prison. But this all came to a head when the UK politics got involved, and the UK Prime Minister at the time, Tony Blair, shared his 2 pence and jokingly mentioned that he was going to talk to Jack Straw, who at the time was the Home Secretary. And if you don't know, UK politics basically means that he's in charge of who and how long people sent the prisons, basically. Mm-hmm. He's in charge of the prisons. Tony Blair joked that he was going to mention it to Jack Straw and try and get Deirdre out of prison. And then the opposition leader of the Conservative Party, William Hague, then publicly commentated, saying that the whole nation is deeply concerned about Deirdre.
Okay.
So I have found a newspaper article from 1998, and I would like to read some of this out to you. It's on the BBC's website. Prime Minister Tony Blair has promised to intervene. Newspapers have launched campaigns and thousands of ordinary people are outraged at the gross miscarriage of justice. The campaign to free Deirdre is gathering momentum with the Home Secretary Jack Straw under orders to look into the case. I continue. Almost every British newspaper wants her freed. The tabloids are issuing free Deirdre stickers and T-shirts. Even in the haughty columns of The Times, Deirdre has made front page news. Only the Daily Mail has accused the nation of mass madness.
Yeah.
Honestly, Vic. And the fun thing about this is go on, you were going to say something.
I was about to be like, that's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Isn't it incredible? Basically, the reason why I think it was such a big deal was because people loved Deirdre. So that was the first thing. But also it was a time in like 1998 Britain, 1990s Britain was very media heavy. The tabloids were very, very prevalent in our society at the time. There was a very fine line between celebrity and entertainment and news. Obviously, yeah. So, and this was the first thing that sort of blurred the lines from fictional to fact kind of thing, even though it wasn't fact, but, you know, it kind of crossed the line. Modern soaps still reference this as like the gold standard because it caused public outrage, emotional investment, and this media crossover. Sadly now, it's very unlikely to ever happen because obviously the way we view TV now is very different. Yeah. You've got more people steering away from broadcast TV to streaming, so audiences are basically fragmented and they're no longer unified on one subject. And if it was to happen, it'd probably be a trend on social media for like 48 hours and then just disappear.
I do have one question. The person who sent the money, or the money that was given, raised, whatever, where did it go? Did it go back to the person? I also had this question, and no amount of Googling would tell me the answer to that. So it just kept coming up that 5k had been donated, but it was never really clear who the money went to and if it got returned to them, and if it didn't, what was it spent on? Yeah, like why is it?
I don't know.
What? I mean, it's just mental. Like, I kind of go, do people remember that it was just a TV show? It's fictional, and it was filmed previously, right? Like it wasn't live at that time, so no amount of petitioning anyway would have affected the story.
I mean, I think people knew, Vic, but I think much like comparing Liz Truss to a lettuce, people didn't care. They were just like, this is funny. Because I mean, that's one thing you can always guarantee from the British public. When they get onto something, they go hard and they are all in.
And we will make fun of everything and anything.
Exactly.
So you're right.
Exactly.
I mean,
how do you feel about the unity of the British public and the Weatherfield one?
I mean, it is crazy to think that it went so far, like to get the Prime Minister involved. Like stories blow up in the news all the time, but you don't get people of importance reporting on them. Also,
can you imagine if Keir Starmer was like, I want to know who killed Theo? Okay, Vic. We are moving on to the final segment of the show. This is the bit we have all been waiting for. The bit we are all desperate to hear. Will you have gone up this week? You have had new characters, new storylines, more behind the cobbles with the Weatherfield one. We have had the landlord in last orders. First orders. We've had a quick round of the statistics. We've had the awards. Where are you at? What are your thoughts? Are you any closer to watching Coronation Street?
Okay. Well, feedback time. Loved. I'm settling in. Well,
Yeah, I'm ready.
loved the Behind the Cobbles. Absolutely mental. Mind blown that is something that happened. Take me back to the 90s. They seem like a much easier time.
Agreed.
Storylines. The Theo Todd murder. Who done it? Come on now. Come on. Like, I'm sad that Summer's still in prison. Although maybe she did do it. Maybe we're missing something. They need to get on that. The Will storyline. I'm mad that teacher is back. Mad that she's back.
Yeah.
Want her to get her just desserts. Like, I'm hoping Will.
Just desserts. You don't hear that enough. Yes, Vic.
What I'm hoping the outcome of that is Will is going to text her, but then report it and be like she's like, so he's like going to double cross her. I hope that he.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
Because the longer this goes on, the more I fear for Will's safety. I think that's going to cause major drama. So
Yeah.
it needs to, come on. All the new characters, I've already forgotten most of their names. There was a lot of them. I feel like I'm back at week 1.
Same, Vic, same. My confusion levels this week were like, and they kept referring to old storylines, and I was like, oh, I don't know these.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So as long as we're on the same page in the new characters, we're fine. So that does bring me to the all-important score that you.
Hang on, what about the check-in? Because I forgot to mention, we also had the check-in this week with Legacy Lauren.
Oh yes, the check-in. I mean, I kind of want to go watch the Czech version of The Street.
Oh, so you'll watch the Czech version, but you won't watch the British one? Are you joking?
I probably won't understand it, but it's fine.
Well, maybe that's why you'll enjoy it. You have no idea what they're saying.
I mean, beer, drama, and food. Dumplings.
Is that all I needed to do to sell Coronation Street? Because Vic, that is what beer, drama, and food is what Coronation Street is. Are you joking?
Coronation Street's white wine and not much food. Too much drama.
Oh, God. If I'd known it was that easy, I would have week 1. Beer, drama, food. You win? I'm in. Done.
So with all this in mind, my score this weekend, am I any closer to watching Corrie? I might have to disappoint you here, Em. I don't think I'm moving. You know what? I will move again when they find out who the hell killed Todd.
Vic, that could be weeks away. I've given you 3 really solid behind the cobbles here.
I'm enjoying them. Like I said, take me back to the 90s. I would have probably started watching for that story. Like, that sounds fantastic. The 90s was where it was at.
I'm so deflated.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks for sending me into my weekend.
You'll be okay. You'll rewatch Corrie, you'll be fine. So, yeah, I think this week I am going to have to stay where I was last week at 3.75. I am enjoying the storylines. I'm liking their progression. But at the moment, in my heart of hearts, I don't want to watch.
My heart of hearts. And that's a wrap. I'm Emily.
I'm Vic.
And this is Why Won't You
Watch Corrie?
Watch Corrie. And thanks for tuning in this week. This is Why Won't You Watch Corrie. If you want to follow along on our socials, we are at Why Won't You Watch on TikTok, X and Instagram. I promise I'll start doing some more posting soon. I've just been very busy with life.
It's been far too hot.
The sun. But mainly, yeah, it's been too hot to move. Every time I touched my phone, it melted. If you have any suggestions on how to get Vic to watch, just drop us a line. As you can tell, I am feeling deflated. But by Sunday, when I'm planning next week's episode, I will be motivated. Give me your tips by Friday next week. Friday the 5th of June, give me your tips so that I can make Victoria move up that scale, because we need more traction here. And that's a wrap.